long-term lease. That just doesn't make sense to me, being a small business owner. Thank you.
My name is John Casey. I currently work for Auto Connection Seattle in Ballard. I've done for 12 years. I really enjoy working in Ballard. The people around there are fantastic. We have a lot of good clients that come from all over the United States to buy cars in Ballard, and we ship them all over. I just got a call a couple hours ago, guys sending the car to Alaska. So we do really good job in Ballard. I like working there, and I'd like to continue working in Ballard. If the city would let us stay there, I would love to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next we'll take Ann Brink, followed by Karen Carlson.
Karen?
Hi, I'm Ann Brink.
Yes, turn on.
Maybe,
Ann Brink.
maybe folks can just leave the mic on, if it'll be easier for the next person.
I remember David Brink, who was Parks Director in Kirkland, and 50 years ago he had the foresight and was able to convince the City Council of a vision of buying as much vacant land as they could. And you can see the results of that today. Kirkland has lots and lots of green spaces. And I think it was really hard back then because they didn't have a lot of money, but they foresaw the future. And so they set aside some of the vacant land. We have a park plan, and it's a 7-year plan, and there are gaps in the area where these green spaces are, but they're like a block out of the gap, across the street from the gap boundary, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's really important that, and the Parks Department said, well, we don't have the money right now. And I said, well, when you do have the money, there won't be any green spaces left. And they go, oh, we'll just tear down the houses. And I said, really? So I think we should set these sites aside, the ones that aren't being used, and keep them until the Parks Department could catch up with their 7-year plan, because their plan is to have more parks and green spaces in this area. So I wanted you to just think about this. How many trees we could put on each lot. And the North Beach site, we could put 54 trees. Loyal Heights, 72 trees. Sunset Hill, 54 trees. Ballard, 54 trees. Monroe, 40 trees. Leary, 81 trees, but I like the small businesses. So maybe you could have 10 trees.
How about 5?
8.
Okay, done.
I go for 8.
50, we could have 50 trees. We could have 405 trees, and how many $1 million? $400 million? 405 trees.
Thank you, Ann. Next, we'll take Karen Carlson, followed by Michael Oxman.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Okay. I'm coming as a customer of the small businesses in Ballard. My name is Karen, and I am a patron of both Java Jan and Auto Connections. I bought my first car at Auto Connections probably about 10 years ago and have bought several since then. I've sent my family members to buy cars there. I have my best friend from California who flew up there to buy a car and drove it back down. I recommend it to my staff or my coworkers and anyone I know, because this business is truly representative of what a small business should be, and we can't lose these small businesses in Seattle because we're being taken over by the large businesses that are, we all know, Amazon and such. I think we need to hang on to these places. This property is very different. They're paying rent, they're successful, they're paying taxes. I don't see any reason to change it at this point. And if nothing more, hanging on to the property for at least 5 more years makes perfect sense. I echo those sentiments because it can only appreciate and continue to generate revenue for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll take Michael Oxman, followed by Thor Dodson.
Hi friends, I'm Michael Oxman. I'm an arborist. So I just wanted to let you know that King County Council has a goal to plant 1 million trees. So where are we going to put these trees? I think on these substation properties would be a fantastic place. And I went to the Urban Forestry Commission's annual joint meeting with staff that works for the city that handles their urban forestry. And there was a bombshell drop there by the city arborist with Seattle Department of Transportation. And he said that they had grossly underestimated their population of trees that are in the city right-of-ways by 50,000 trees. So I just wanted to point out that we have a canopy cover survey that changed over 5% in 4 years. And so we're talking about 1.5 million trees, and they underestimated that by several 100,000 trees. And the city has inexact science that they're using in this process of divesting surplus assets is typical of that. And when you talk about the green space, the developers have a chokehold on our city council members for the re-election campaign fund contributions. So our city council members are politicians that depend on re-election, and the only way they can get re-elected is if the development community pays into their fund. And of course, when you have conflicting goals such as more housing needed and more green space needed, guess which one wins? We have this compromise down at City Hall, and the politicians are compromising in favor of concrete. And unfortunately, tree roots cannot live in concrete. We have some laws that say that the feeder root zone is double the drip line of the tree. In a conversation that I had today with the Department of Construction Inspection, he told me today that they have never enforced that drip line protection since it was passed in 2009. So we have a bunch of goals that don't reflect our situation. We have a bunch of policies that don't reflect our situation, and we have some compromised political situations that result in us doing massive clear cuts. And this is just one more tool of development. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. We have Thor Dodson next, followed by Susan Dowling.